Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. Today we're doing something special. We're bringing you a panel of LivePlan staff, and they're here with their staff picks, their favorite tips and tricks for getting the most out of LivePlan. So we're so excited for you to join us today and hope that you really have come with your questions, with your favorite LivePlan features, and we're really hoping that you get something new. You learned something new you never knew you could do in LivePlan today. That's really what our really where we were coming from. The inspiration for today's topic. We all got together and said, you know, we talk to customers and every now and then they say, oh my gosh, I never knew I could do that in LivePlan. And we thought it would just be great to get together and talk through some of those favorite features that have risen to the surface for us and make sure that you do know how you can do work quickly and easily in LivePlan. So thanks so much for joining us today. I want to introduce our panel. My name is Lauren McComb. I'm the Product Engagement Manager for LivePlan. And we'll just go around and introduce ourselves. Maybe you could just do 1 to 2 minutes about who you are, your name, who you are, where you're coming from today, and what you do at Palo Alto Software in support of LivePlan. So let's start with Cassie.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everyone. I'm Cassie Halen. I have been with Palo Alto I just hit my 4-year mark last week, which is pretty exciting. And I work with our advisors and consultants who use LivePlan with their clients. So customer success guide is my role, like title, but all of our advisors, from start to their, annual renewal, I'm working with them. I work remotely. I'm based down in Miami. Used to be up in Eugene with the team before the last couple of years, but a few of us are kind of spread out now, and I am one of those people. So curious where everyone is listening in from. If you want to pop that in the questions box.
Yeah, thanks, Cassie. And Spencer, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Spencer Thompson. I've been at Palo Alto Software for a little over 2 years at this point. I joined 2 days before the pandemic. That's kind of like my milestone I refer back to. I am joining this webinar from Cottage Grove, Oregon, so just outside of Eugene, and I work on our marketing team. So I work with a great group of folks who touch kind of our LivePlan website. If you've visited our website, if you visited our LivePlan blog, if you visited our other site that we own as well, B-Plans, I work with a team who's responsible for making those experiences for you the most optimal. So it's great to be here, and I'm excited to share some tips with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Spencer. And Josh.
Hi there. My name is Josh Clark. I'm the product designer for LivePlan. What does that mean? So me, along with our product design team, which is a trio of our product manager and our user experience researcher, along with our collection of tons of devs and QAs, work to figure out how we make improvements to the app and make it easier for you to forecast and plan your business. So that's kind of what I do. I've been doing it for almost 2 years at Palo Alto Software, and excited to do it for more. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, my name is Lauren. I'm coming also from Eugene, Oregon. I've been with Palo Alto Software for 3.5 years and have worked on LivePlan that entire time. So really excited to get this group together today to talk through some of these quick tips and high value tricks for you. So here's a quick look at our agenda. We just went through the housekeeping, and we're going to just go around with the panel, and each of us is going to show you, Josh, Cassie, and Spencer are each going to show you 2 of their favorite features in LivePlan, some ways to get some quick value, and some big ideas too that you can grapple with and tackle in LivePlan. So I'm really excited to show you each of those things. And then we'll leave some time at the end to wrap up any final questions. And yeah, that's our game plan for today. So what are we hoping you'll learn? What are the features we're going to walk through? Really just 3 quick tricks to save you some time and effort in LivePlan. We're going to show you how to do simple calculations in your forecast, how to add notes so you can track your assumptions and share out any specific details in writing with anyone you're collaborating with in LivePlan. We're going to show you how to generate custom reports so you can really hone in on the key metrics that you're hoping to collaborate with your team and rise to the surface for your ongoing management. And then some high value tips that can help you really drive growth for your business. We'll talk about how to use LivePlan scenarios to think through different what if situations. What if, we won't run through all of these, but for example, what if I wanted to make a new equipment purchase, hire a new employee, and we'll talk about the different ways you can apply this and show you an example in real time. And then we'll also talk about, you're just thinking about a new model for your revenue. How can you test that in LivePlan? And we'll show you how to do that. And then finally, we will talk about how you can get connected with a LivePlan advisor if you need some additional help. So those are the main topics we're going to tackle today. Again, please do not be shy with your questions. We will answer them in real time as they're coming through. And again, take a pause at the end of each section to address anything specific. Okay, so let's get going. Before we jump in, we are going to be using a demo company that we built. This is a fictional company, and I just wanted to quickly orient you to it, so you know you're seeing a fully built company in LivePlan as we go through these features today. You have a little bit of a reference point. And this company is called Balance and Flow. It's they offer general wellness services, including massage therapy, personal training, and more. This is our fictional business owner, Shauna. You'll see her name pop up in a few places in LivePlan today. And the main thing to know about Shauna and her business is, you know, she took this over from a friend. She doesn't consider herself a numbers person or even really a business person. She was a college athlete. She's really passionate about health and wellness, and she saw this opportunity to offer these services in her community. So she's really looking for LivePlan to help guide her in making some of these decisions around timing and the viability of the goals she has in mind. And so you'll see that come through in the in the demo company today as we're talking through these features. Okay, thank you for letting me get through all of the housekeeping. Thank you for letting us know a little bit about you. And with that, let's jump into LivePlan. We are going to start with Josh, and I'm going to get that open for Josh to talk to us about calculations and notes.
Yeah,
Let
so
me resize my screen.
Cool. I'm really excited to talk to you about these 2 features. They're things that I use. One thing I was going to tell you is I use LivePlan for personal finances. I use it to forecast my personal finances, and I use it to forecast for a nonprofit that I'm on the board for. And it's been really, really helpful for both of those. And I find myself using these 2 things that I'm going to talk to you about today almost every time I go into LivePlan to touch those. So so we'll jump into the forecast. The thing that is really helpful in the forecast item editor is that you may not know this, but you can actually, instead of putting a value, you can actually do calculations within the value. So for example, in this business, in Balance and Flow, which is jump in a little bit, I had a conversation with Shauna about the fact that because of inflation, her utilities is going to go up about 6% starting in the January of 2023. And so what you can do is you could come in here and you could look at your January 2023 number, and you could try to, and a lot of people have done this. I used to do this all the time, where I would open up my calculator and I would fill out, do the number, or I would do it on a piece of paper or whatever. But now you can just type in 600 and then you can put a star 1.06. And when you blur out, it will update that number, which is just so cool. And then you've got 636, which does the math for you. And then if you see those little 3 dots underneath the little kebab icon, you can then fill that number forward, since you know this is going to be a persistent calculation that goes forward. And the great thing about that is that we actually do the math when you apply things forward to annual years. So you'll see in this case, Shauna has 2024 as an annual year, or as an annual total, and we've done the math with that new number to calculate all of 2024 with that new number. So it's really, really great. So that would be one way that I use calculations all the time. So if we want to save and close this, we can. And then,
hey Josh, are there any other just quick, obviously plus, minus, multiply, anything else we just want to point out quickly that folks can do here with these calculations?
Yeah, you can do all 4 major, you can do multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So actually the other case that I was going to show you would be use addition. So for example, like if we were going to look at, maybe Shauna wants to increase her space starting in February of 2023, and that will increase her rent. We can say, well, let's just change this from constant amount to varying amount over time. And then using our little apply right, we just take that number and we apply it all the way forward. And then in February 23, we want to increase the rent by $1,500. So let's just add 1,500. And now, obviously, that wasn't a difficult one to do, but then you can apply it right, and you've updated that whole thing. So really, really great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. If we have folks that are pretty spreadsheet centric in their work here, just a quick note, you can also kind of do the more classic, equal sign here. And I believe, I'm gonna put myself on the spot, but like that you can actually use a parentheses as well. Yep, that worked. Yep. So, yep, little cute. There's a little bit of a risk there for me, but I think we're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some quick tips on those calculations.
It's pretty awesome in regards to that, and I find myself using it all the time. Bill had a question about how is that different than using the 6% or the change percentage in the top right corner of the box. That's a great question, Bill. So what that will do is that will apply a 6% growth rate to the entire year, and not just everything moving forward. And so by using calculations and the apply right, it gives you a little bit more granularity. So for example, if you wanted to say just increase 6% starting in May 2023 and not the entire year, you could then maintain your normal rate for the first 4 months of the year, and then fill in the percentage change starting in May. So that's a great question. So then once you've made these calculation changes based on the real things that are happening in your business, you kind of want to know why you put the number in there, right? This number is kind of like or this forecast is an oracle to your business, but sometimes being able to decipher what the numbers mean can be a little bit difficult. And we've talked to many people about, like, they write it down on a piece of paper that they lose, or they keep notepad on their phone or whatever. But we just introduced the notes feature in the forecast, and I use it all the time. So let's just go back to utilities, and now we see in February 2023 that there's this random 636 number. Well, if I were to come back, you know, a month from now and look at that number, I may not remember exactly what I did, but I can now leave a note for myself in the forecast. So you can do that either by hovering over the number in January 23, and you'll see a little kebab menu, or you can just right click, which is great too, on any of those. And so you do that, and then you hit add edit note, and you'll see we highlight it, and in the notes field it says utilities January 23, and let's just leave a note for ourselves. So increased by 6% due to inflation. And now anytime I come back, I will be able to see that that's why that number is what it is, or there's a note on it. And also anybody that I'm collaborating with in LivePlan will be able to see that note too. So it's a really helpful thing for us to be able to, like, not have to hold that in our heads and remember what the numbers mean. We just leave them in LivePlan, and they can speak back to us in the future, to our future selves. So
Absolutely, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll point out too, if you are working with multiple folks in LivePlan, you'll see Shauna's, you know, name was assigned to this note. If you have if Josh came in on his own account as a collaborator, you would see Josh's name assigned to that note. So you can kind of see too who's touching things, who's you know, making those assumptions, and it's a great collaboration tool as well.
And you can edit your notes if you want, if we want to. So that's great too. So if, for example, something changes with that number and you need to make some adjustments to your notes, you can always do that too right here, which is fantastic. So
yeah.
And one of the things that we're working on right now, I'm just going to dangle this, is right now you can only leave notes in these table views, but very soon we'll be able to allow our users to leave notes for themselves while they're editing their forecast items, and that should be coming really soon.
Yeah, awesome. Another question that came up was, you know, we talked about how to make these calculations in single cells and apply right going forward. Someone asked, is there a way to increase a percentage month over month? So basically apply a growth rate each month and not overall. And that is also a feature we are currently looking at developing.
Totally.
Yep, and we I'll maybe Jade in the background can put in the chat which email address you'd like to use if you'd like to test this feature with our product team. Reach out to Jade to get in touch with her about that. So she'll put her email address in the chat box there. Okay, Josh, any last comments on calculations or notes you'd like to leave our users with?
No, I mean, other than just like play with it, try it out. You'll find, like, especially with notes, that like it's going to become so useful to you, and calculations, you will just end up using them all the time. I use calculations almost more than I use raw values now, just because it's such a helpful feature. So
awesome. Thanks so much, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, Cassie is going to talk to us about generating custom reports. And maybe we could start just with, you know, why you would want to, well, I don't know. I'll let you lean into it, Cassie, where you want to start.
Great. I'm sure we are both kind of going to go in the same direction here. But yeah, I'm super excited to talk about the dashboard and dashboard reports today, especially the custom report side, of course. So I'm curious who here uses the dashboard, if you have a lot of experience with the dashboard, if you want to put that in the questions box, because this is kind of what we'll be living for in the next couple minutes. To give a little bit of background, you can think of the dashboard as where your reports and higher level analysis lives. We bring in your accounting actuals, which will reflect, those up to the day values, but of course, monthly, annual, however long you've been using LivePlan. And then we pull together your numbers into charts and graphics that are really digestible, so you can better understand them. A couple areas that you can kind of see is you can choose the date, the time frame that you're looking at. Lauren, if you want to hover over that, perfect. So we'll kind of live in October today, mainly because we update this company and this is a good month that's all updated. And then you can see and compare against your forecasts, which of course we love at Palo Alto in LivePlan, but you can also compare to previous periods and previous years. So before we even start talking about the custom reports, we'll role play a little bit here to kind of choose what we'll include in that custom report. So we're looking at balance and flow, and let's say you're prepping for a meeting with investors, or maybe you're prepping for a meeting with your client if you are an advisor or a consultant in LivePlan. And for this meeting, it's really important to touch base on net profit and net profit margins and cash flow. So again, we're going to stay in October, but let's take a peek at net profit. So you'll see that you can click directly into the metrics from this overview page. Perfect. And then if we hover over that row with the numbers here, so you see actuals versus forecast in those previous period and year, you'll see that balance and flows is down 45% from the forecast. The target was about 3,800, but their actuals came in at just over $2,000. Okay, we'll kind of make a mental note there. Maybe you have kind of notes on the side going. And now let's peek maybe at net profit margin. One way to get there is just to click over metrics. We know that it's just 2 metrics away, so we'll start there today. And then we'll see this. So it's okay. Well, there's a little area, line, column option of how you want to view the graphics. So we'll kind of make a note there. We're of course going quickly through this, but as the owner or the business advisor, you'll probably spend more time thinking through, maybe comparing this to more periods, more years. But we're just gonna go kind of quickly today. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at cash on hand. So you can scroll over, we'll see all the metrics here to choose from, and then we'll see that the business is outperforming the plan. Okay, that's great. We're doing well on the actuals for this period and over previous year. Wonderful. Okay, so after you go through and start analyzing the performance, now is where we go and actually dive into this feature I'm going to talk about today, which is customizing and adding context to your dashboard reports. So the first piece is to go over into the print and download icon, and we'll see a few options. Edit is going to open up kind of our little library of options here, and you'll see that there's a cover page that you can include in the download, summary, overview. The overview is going to be kind of what we were just looking at on that first page when we click into the dashboard. But then you'll see that all of the metrics are automatically checked. So first of all, we probably don't want to download everything. That would be a really long report. It'd be overwhelming for not only yourself, but also your customer. I tested to see how many pages this was with downloading it. It was 41 pages. That would be overwhelming. I was gonna have you guys kind of guess, but I thought it would be better if I just download and find out. So instead, we're just going to choose the metrics that we want to show the team this week. So step one, we're going to unclick everything, and then we will include the overview. We can include the cover page. This will show the logo, make it really pretty at the beginning. I'll come back to the summary, but we are going to include that. And then let's include, the net profit margin, cash on hand, and then we'll also throw in the net cash flow for fun. And then, of course, any other metrics that you feel it's important that your client should see. You can also throw in the financial statements. The dashboard also pulls those in. We recreate those in the dashboard. And then let's go scroll up to that summary. So this is one of my favorites. It's almost a little hidden, especially because not everyone always knows this is here. But this is where you can add more context to what this download is going to be. So a lot of our advisors might use this for meeting notes. Maybe they'll use this as an agenda item. Maybe we'll take some notes in here during the meeting or as the meeting is wrapping up, because it will be included in its own page in the download. And then once you've added in, what you would like to say here, then you can click I'm done. And we can download that report.
Great. I will download it. I just want to show a couple quick things that you can, again, change the time period here if you want to. You can choose what you're comparing your charts to, again, just like the dashboard. So if you're wanting to see, previous period would be the previous month, or if you want to see October 2021, compare those things, you can make all those selections here. And like Cassie said, these reports can be generated by someone working with a client in LivePlan, but of course too, if you are running your own business, you're just collaborating with your management team, this would be something you'd want to do probably on a monthly basis. How are we performing against our plan? What changes do we need to make to our plan or maybe to our business operations? And so this can just be a great way to set the stage for the conversation that you're having with your team. So I'll go ahead and download the report and we'll show you what it looks like when it is done. And like Cassie said, beautiful cover page. And I'll just scroll, and Cassie, if there's anything specific you wanted to point out, there's that summary you were talking about. Pretty much just a dashboard overview look, and then these specific metrics that Cassie decided she wanted to surface as part of this meeting in the financial statements. I'm scrolling fast, I apologize.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a couple of questions that as you're scrolling, I'll answer. We'll show you all how to get to the summary section again. Do you want to do that really quickly, Lauren?
Yep.
Cool. So you're in the edit screen. It might, or I guess first. It's not going to show any of those options. You'll have to click into the edit in the dashboard, and then you'll see the options.
Let me go back and just show that. Oh, and I apologize. I didn't switch scenarios for us, Cassie, but okay, so here we go. Edit so that you get all those options, and then edit the summary.
Perfect. And then another question was, does the summary include any automated comments? No, it is going to be kind of manual what you want to enter in there. LivePlan, for the most part, and I guess Josh can correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't add assumptions really anywhere. The goal is that you're either talking to your client, or of course, as a business owner, your business better than anyone. So we're not going to add any kind of AI or algorithms in here really to assume things what you want to add.
Yep. Okay, and then we wanted to talk a little bit about if you want to test a what if scenario.
Excellent. So for the what if scenarios, we'll jump over to the forecast. And we can say in this scenario currently, we can go to working scenario, doesn't matter too much right now. But we're going to sort of build off that work that we just did in the dashboard and talk about these quick scenarios. So this is key for, have you ever wondered how your cash or profitability would be affected if you increased your prices a little bit? Have you ever considered adding more employees, wondering if you can afford it? What if you wanted to purchase new equipment and you want to figure out if you should buy it now or wait a few months? We're going to do the example of paying Shauna, our business owner of Balance and Flow, a salary because she is currently not paying herself. So before we even copy and create a new scenario, we're currently looking at the P&L here in the forecast. And this is kind of course, what you would do, as you are analyzing the effect that the scenario will have. You look at, okay, what does Shauna's profitability and cash currently look like? Lauren, you can turn on Live Forecast. We'll do kind of a shameless plug on Live Forecast here. We have lots of resources on this feature if you don't know what it does. And we can look at the annual view, the monthly view. But we got a good idea of what her cash position looks like. But will we remain cash flow positive if Shauna starts paying herself? So now this quick what if scenario. We can simply go out to the top where scenarios are, create a new one, and we can just copy the scenario we're looking at. So we're not going to mess with this baseline, working forecast that we worked so hard on. We're just going to copy this. We'll call it maybe pay Shauna or Shauna's salary. And we can say, what if this starts in December? So Lauren, I'll have you kind of walk us through the additions we make here, but we'll go and add Shauna's salary.
Yeah, so we're going to do that in the personnel. We're going to say add personnel. This is just going to be Shauna, so it's an individual. And then LivePlan is going to ask us, is this regular labor or direct labor? Essentially, is this employee tied to a specific revenue stream for purposes of analyzing margins? And since Shauna is the business owner, she's touching all areas of the business. We're just going to call her regular labor. And then LivePlan is going to ask us, do we want to input their salary as a constant amount or varying amounts over time? Shauna's looking to model, what if she just paid herself $5,000 per month? So we can do constant, and like Cassie said, we're going to try starting that in December. And and with inflation and everything, probably makes sense to include some annual raises, but she wants to be realistic, so let's just start with 4%. And then LivePlan will ask us, is this an on-staff employee for purposes of assigning costs associated with benefits, or LivePlan calls it a burden rate, so the additional costs associated with an employee besides just their salary. A contract worker does not have those costs associated with them. So we will say Shauna is an on-staff employee, and save and close. And so what this means is now we have Shauna's salary built into the forecast here. And we can see, since it was just that 1 month in December, that $5,000 cost, and then the annual increases. And so then Shauna can go back and say, okay, what does this mean for my bottom line? I'm going to go back to my profit and loss statement. I'm going to take a look at my profitability and cash position. And I am not surprised if you didn't commit those previous numbers to your head, but her profitability did go down, her cash did go down, but she knows she's still cash flow positive while she's paying herself. And maybe her profit doesn't look as rosy as it did before, but maybe those numbers weren't realistic. It wasn't realistic for her to not pay herself for that long anyway. And so she knows, okay, I can get profitable in 2024. And then from there, she can go maybe build out a couple more years to see which direction that profitability is going to head in. Anything else, Cassie, you want to point out that Shauna would get from this analysis?
Yeah, I mean, to really wrap this up, and the idea of these quick what if scenarios is, it's, the idea in this exercise is not having all the answers. It's really taking in ideas, and especially if you're, if you're the advisor or if you're the business owner and you have these thoughts in your head, you can use LivePlan, quickly copy a scenario and, put that idea kind of to life and see how it'll affect your numbers. The idea is to use LivePlan as a tool to think through your strategies, so you can, be proactive in the day-to-day in your business. But again, it's not about being, necessarily the numbers person or being able to tell what's going to happen in the future. It's just the idea is that we're going to kind of help you better think through these decisions.
Awesome.
That's it for me.
Thanks, Cassie. Couple quick questions, and then I do want to move on to Spencer because we're filling up the time so quickly. It's amazing. Someone asked about the burden rate and where you set that. That's going to be back in your personnel table. You can change the burden rate here. We kind of went with the suggested 20%. That's a good place to start if you're offering health insurance, etc. For your employees, but this is where you would make that slight adjustment. And then there was a question about live forecast.
I was just gonna say, one thing that we're working on right now is actually being able to adjust the burden rate as a varying amount. So rather than just saying, hey, 20% all the time, that maybe your burden changes over, the forecast period or whatever, so that you can, add health insurance for your employees or whatever in year 2, your burden rate would change. So if you're interested in that, let me know, or Jade know by commenting in the chat, and we'll hit you up when we have a version of that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited about that feature. We all know that these costs change over time, and building in those assumptions would be really helpful. So thanks for pointing that out, Josh. And then there was another question about live forecast, and I really appreciate Cassie mentioning it. Basically, what live forecast does is if you are connected to an accounting solution like QuickBooks Online or Xero, or you're entering in your actual results in the LivePlan dashboard, it is bringing those actuals into your forecast to true up your forecast numbers. So anything for past months will reflect those actual performance numbers from your data, so that your cash and profit are trued up going forward. So it blends your past with your future to give you a good sense of where you're headed in terms of cash and profit specifically. So that's the quick overview of live forecast. We have a lot of video resources on how to use it to manage your business. And if you check out liveplan.com/webinars, you can find some recordings there. Okay, 11:45. Here we go. Last 15 minutes. And Spencer, let's talk about other ways you can use LivePlan scenarios to maybe think about different ways to model your business, or maybe even just a part of your business, is I think the example we're going to dig into here with Shauna.
Yeah, awesome. And I'll be pretty quick because this really does build upon, I think, the foundation that Cassie set. And I loved what she said about kind of using scenarios to be kind of this experimental playground that is no risk, kind of taking ideas that you have in your head about ways you want to grow or structure your business and using scenarios to kind of model what that may look like. So I'm just curious in the questions to know how many folks at this moment have more than one scenario built out in their LivePlan account. Or are familiar with, scenarios and building out those scenarios. So feel free to note if you have more than one scenario built out in your account at the moment. So scenarios is really powerful because it can be used whether you're just trying to like validate a business idea, you're at the startup phase, you're trying to outline your business model. You can build scenarios to potentially play out what different types of business models may look like. So if your services, that could look something like subscription, punch card. If your unit sales, it could be offering, again, like a subscription box or just one-off unit sales. So really just a place more thought of as like a playground to test out these different ideas. In the example today, we'll look at Balance and Flow. Obviously, it's an established business, but Shauna offers a shockwave therapy service. Historically, she's offered it as kind of a one-off. You can come in, buy this service. Next time you come in, you can buy the service again. But truly, this service and this type of therapy is something that folks need to have on a reoccurring basis in order to see the true benefits. So Shauna's really questioning, would her bottom line cash and profit be more profitable at the end of the day if she moved away from kind of selling piecemeal shockwave therapy sessions to a subscription shockwave therapy revenue model. So Lauren has, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll build out, similar to what we did with Cassie, a duplication of a scenario that already exists. We'll create a new scenario. We'll copy an existing scenario. Lauren's going to copy our working forecast, and we'll name it Shockwave subscription, Shockwave as a subscription. And once that's saved, we'll go back into the forecast here. We're going to go down to her shockwave therapy revenue stream right now because, again, she currently offers this as a unit sales offering. We're going to clear out, her question is, in 2023, should I change how I model this offering? So we're going to clear out our values for 2023. Set those
So
to
I'm
zero.
I'm setting the number of units she sells to 0 just to, get that revenue zeroed out for the rest of the forecast years.
Awesome. And then we're going to go ahead and add a new revenue stream, keeping it in mind that we're in the Shockwave as a subscription scenario. We'll add Shockwave subscription. And the difference here being we're going to add it as a reoccurring charges. Once we click next there, we'll want this to start in the new year, so 2023. And again, we can play with a number here. So how many subscription offerings for this therapy does she envision kind of selling right off the bat?
And I think she was thinking about charging an upfront fee for this, just a constant amount to kind of deal with the administrative part. So, like $300 to get going. And then, like Spencer said, what's going to be the charge for this over time? I think we were talking about a constant price of like $400 a month. So every month. And then I think I missed a select to sign up. Oh, I thought this was the sign up at start. So yes, this is how many customers she's going to get per month.
Yep.
So yeah, so I think she wants to start. She's just testing, so she wants to start small. See if what happens if you just get 5 customers a month to sign up for this service. So 5 customers a month. And then, yeah, here's the upfront fee, how much she's charging them each month. And then Spencer, you want to talk about the churn rate a little bit?
Yeah, so as with any subscription model, not everybody is going to resubscribe at 100% time over time. So the churn rate is really, for subscription models, what you expect to kind of bleed out as you kind of go through time. Just turnover, customers no longer re-enabling their subscriptions. So I would maybe put a churn rate here of a constant rate, maybe at like 5% as a baseline. And again, like no risk, we're just playing with numbers here. We can start to see, what offering the Shockwave as a subscription versus one-off kind of piecemeal sales would look like. We can then compare, her bottom line in this subscription scenario to what it looks like for her, how this revenue stream is currently modeled. And maybe there are other costs in this scenario that go along with offering this as a subscription.
Yeah, we can see that. So we're in this scenario right now, Shockwave as a subscription, the one we copied it over from the working forecast. You can see her cash, her cash numbers here for the end of the years and her profit. But in the subscription scenario, those numbers are quite a bit higher. And so, like Spencer said, you might make Shauna think like, oh, that's great, of course, but maybe there are some additional costs associated with this that I haven't really thought through. Maybe she wants to make sure she can get a little bit more than 5%, or sorry, 5 customers per month, and so she needs to expand her marketing for service specifically, and she wants to make this marketing expense a percentage of this new specific revenue stream. So she knows she wants to spend at least 8% of the revenue she's bringing in on Shockwave services on marketing it going forward. This would also begin, well, maybe not on the exact same month she's starting. Maybe she wants to start, a month before with that marketing effort. And then that would build in that additional expense as well. She can come back down and see, okay, now my cash and profit is adjusted a little bit based on this additional expense. So,
yeah, so I mean, really scenarios, while we did model this, revenue modeling on a established business, it's really powerful if you're just getting started as well and really contemplating how you want to structure your business. I will note as well, one of the wonderful things that we offer LivePlan customers is a forecast building service. So if you're kind of a little bit timid about kind of getting into the forecast, plugging in your own numbers, be it kind of your working forecast or more of an iterative kind of growth, best case, worst case, in the example that we just gave, adjusting maybe the revenue model for a specific offering, we offer a service where you can work with one of our LivePlan advisors and professionals who will kind of brief with you on what your goals are, really what you're trying to achieve, and work with you to build out that forecast. So at the end of the day, you'll have a forecast and LivePlan that kind of is reflective of the goals that you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to test within your business. So Lauren's screen here shows what the link for that service is. I definitely encourage folks who maybe are a little bit more timid with the numbers, or even if it's time as a constraint, like having this service at your fingertips to work with somebody who is well-versed in forecast builds and modeling is really helpful. So I don't know if there's any other questions. I haven't had a chance to peek. I know we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, there was one question about comparing scenarios. There's 2 ways that you can do this. One is if you have LivePlan Premium, we do have this new feature to export your any forecast table you are seeing as a CSV file, and so you could actually do that export into Excel or whatever spreadsheet editor you use, and have those numbers side by side as a way to compare. My screen share is not going to show this really well, but you can also right click if you're using Chrome, or it kind of depends on your browser, but if you have the option in your browser to duplicate a tab, that does allow you to open LivePlan up into 2 tabs that you can look at side by side if you're comparing scenarios. So those are kind of just some quick, some might even say a little bit hacky ways to do some scenario comparisons. And yeah, we definitely see that need in our work often. So we've kind of put together those workarounds, and we'll make a note that that's a feature that that would help you in your work with scenarios. So thanks so much for sharing that. I'm going to take a look. There was a question about the cost to work with an advisor. It kind of depends on the different services we're offering. So feel free to just go to this page, fill out the form, learn more, talk with our project manager, and she'll get you all set up with what your needs are. And feel free for folks in the background, if there's any other big questions rising to the top, please feel free to surface those. And I wanted to speak to a little bit about just the other ways we support you besides our advisor services. We have our customer advocates are always, they're right here in Eugene, Oregon with us. They work side by side with us in our main office here, and you can reach them by chat right in LivePlan. If you go to get help, here on the side panel, you can chat with support right here in the app. You can also always email them, help@liveplan.com, and they'll get back to you with speedy answers. They're super knowledgeable. So grateful to have our customer advocates here for you with all of your software questions. We also have a help center that's accessible right in the app as well. It has a robust library of articles to help you. Liveplan.com/blog. We talk about new features happening there, and also just general business topics that we're hoping to help meet you where you're at with your business needs. So please check out our blog as well. And we run these webinars on occasion, and we will continue to send out emails to you about upcoming webinars if hopefully you enjoyed the webinar today. I'm taking a look from my team to see what folks, if there's any other questions. So I think we covered all of it. Spencer, Cassie, Josh, thank you so much for taking time today to talk about your favorite features in LivePlan. And thank you all for coming and talking with us live on this webinar. And we will send out the recording. It'll come in an email in just a few days. And yeah, please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. If you ever get stuck in LivePlan, we're here to help you. So thank you so much for your time today, and hope to see you again on a future webinar. Thanks so much.